What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Dewan. Today, I'm here with the one and only Kwasi Ransom. What's up, my man?
How's it going, man?
Man, it's good. So I know you're like, who is Kwasi? Check this out. I met Kwasi back in July of, 2018?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Just a little bit after I came on,
Yeah, July of 2018, when I first became a network engineer, my counterpart who I worked with was Kwasi. He was 19 years old, his first network engineer job, and he had a CCNA. Powerful stuff.
It was incredible working with you. Seriously, I realized just after you left how much I derived from working with you. Your passion, more than anything, drove me to become much better after you left. Seriously, but the entire time I felt like it was such a growth.
Hey, man, to be honest with you, you helped me grow because you have such a competitive nature. And
I guess that's good. I hope that's good.
No, it's great. It's great. But like the type of person what I am, like who I am, I compete in sports.
Yeah.
I compete in like tournaments or games, but at work, like in my goals, I compete with myself.
Right.
And so like you had this competitive nature, and it was just like, at first it was just frustrating, but then it was like, you know what? I'm in a position to where like I have experience, rather than like feeling like we're competing. It's like, okay, how can I enable you to be better?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You always made like a really solid point of that you were just trying to help me along my journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's definitely something I had to contend with. I still like challenge with it, but like working with you, working with Ron in that capacity, it's like seeing you progress. That helped me to see the power of what you're doing, your habits. Yeah.
Bro, your habits.
No.
I'm
my ambition maybe, but not my habits.
No, your ambition and your habits, and I'm gonna tell you why. I wouldn't be automating if it wasn't for being in that position, working with you and working with Ron. Cause
you do a lot with that now. It's crazy. Like I see some of the stuff you do, and I saw like that you passed the certification. I saw that the work that you're doing now with your current job. I don't know how much you want to say about jobs on this. Yeah.
That's cool. But I'm saying when we first started working together, I think you started a week before me, and then I came in after you.
Exactly.
Immediately you were trying to automate, like immediately.
Yeah.
And my mindset was like, I need to learn the environment before I automate anything. And I've never been the type to automate anything.
But also, I think that comes with a little bit of like just like I don't know, you even call it like going without a care, going hazard first, I guess. Kind of thing. Head first into it. Exactly. Just having fun in the space. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, but
seriously,
you having that mentality to automate and being like, man, this is tedious, this is stupid. Why are we doing this over and over? This is repeated. it really changed my mindset.
Okay.
Like, man, from the time I first met you, I knew you would do great things. At the age of 19, the way you carry yourself, man, you would wake up in the morning, run 6 miles, and then go minister to people. I'm like, yo, what am I doing with my life?
Are you serious? You felt that way?
Yeah, man. Like, it encouraged and motivated me because you got such a drive and a passion. Like, I'm being honest, bro. At 19, there's not too many people in this world that inspire me. But the way you have this mindset that you're not going to let nothing stop you, salute, bro. You're going to go far, and you already headed in that direction.
That's way meaningful coming from you.
I'm serious,
Thank
man.
you so much.
I'm being honest.
That's incredible. Thank you.
But, man, enough of that. Tell the people about you, bro.
What about me?
Well, being 19 and becoming a network engineer and having your CCNA. I mean, you're 20 now, but how did you get there? How did you make that happen?
Okay. So I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses. I went to a convention of Jehovah's Witnesses maybe when I was like 14, 13. And there was a Bethel meeting at the Bethel meeting, Bethel's like a branch office of Jehovah's Witnesses in New York. At the Bethel meeting, they said that some special skills that they needed at the time were like networking, computer networking, network security, cybersecurity. So I was just getting out of middle school at that point. I think it was in 8th grade in middle school. And I thought about, like, I really wanted to go to Bethel. So I went to this school. I decided to go to this school on the other side of town. I lived in Tampa, Florida. I don't know if I mentioned it. And there's this tech school on the other side of town. It was Tampa Bay Tech is the name of it. It's in the ghetto. It's near Seminole Heights. Seminole Heights is nicer now. Okay. But it was an hour drive from where I lived in West Chase. And so every morning before I could drive, I would take 2 transfer buses to get there. So I would wake up at like 3:30, and then later on I got to like 4:30 in the morning, which is nice. But it was a 2-hour transfer bus there, and then 2 hours back. So every day was like a 12-hour day.
Man.
So every day you get 2 hours of vocation. So electrical trade at first, and then like just understanding electronics, how electricity moves, and then later on I progressed into computer technicianship, and then networking, and then working on Cisco certs, and then security. So everything kind of built on itself, and that was really great experience. But I think what I got out of like going to Tampa Bay Tech more than anything was like a broader worldview, because I grew up in, you know, a nice part of town. Everything was very, I guess you could just say it's in a bubble.
Yeah.
I grew up in a bubble.
Right.
So going to the ghetto, riding 2 transfer buses, the conversation that I heard, like the people that I was around, it shifted my perspective.
Yeah.
Because I viewed, you know, people as like as a result of the things that they would do, as opposed to their circumstances, which is a big part of it.
We're causing to
Exactly.
make those decisions.
So I think its impact on my view of people, ultimately my greater love of people,
Right.
I drive that more than any sort of like tech skill that I could get out of the school. So that was great. It was a great experience. I really loved Tampa Bay Tech. And of course, because it was like school in the ghetto as opposed to like school around my house, which was a nicer area.
Yeah.
The kids where I grew up and like where I went to school, like when I was a kid, they were really catty. So I'd get bullied, you know, but they would suck up to the teacher because they, of course, you know, want to have a good relationship with the teacher and have their favor.
Yeah.
So when I went to school in tech, like kids would, you know, maybe bring their problems to school. They don't like authority, maybe. They got in trouble with the teachers, but unless you like stepped on their shoe or like kicked over their binder, they're pretty much chill with each other. So great relationship with the kids. It was like on the whole an amazing experience.
Right.
So with that, after I graduated, like I graduated maybe May 22nd, 2017.
Okay.
And I think that was it. And then I took my CCNA May 30th or 31st. I don't know how the calendar works.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like
Okay,
right
so
after school.
the day before June 1st,
Yeah.
I took my CCNA and passed the second test of the ICND 2.
Oh, man.
And June 1st, the day after I passed, I moved to Kansas City.
Hmm.
And I moved for personal growth. I thought it was going to be a good experience for me to just, like the experience I had at Tech, to broaden my worldview and to grow as a person, grow some of these qualities.
You 18 at that time.
Yeah.
To have that perspective on life, man, is just crazy.
Yeah, but I can't like say it was my own perspective or like something that was just like I came up with it or something like that.
Yeah.
I had a lot of good influence. Like my uncle was a great influence for me.
Man, salute to
Yeah.
your family,
Good
man.
man.
You mentioned a lot about like your grandparents,
Yeah.
your grandmother, your father, your uncle. Salute to them, man, because they definitely
They're really powerful people.
raised
yeah.
a dope young man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Seriously.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, but they were very strong influences. Now, when I got to Kansas City, I think it also was a great experience. Not the easiest time, but a great experience.
Yeah, it's a different place here.
Yeah. So when I got to Kansas City, I was just imagining like, yeah, I don't really want to do this whole networking thing. I just got the skill to go to Bethel. So
Okay.
I was working in extermination with my uncle for a little bit, and then I got another job. I had like, you know, when I first started, I had like 4 jobs. So at first I was just doing extermination with my uncle,
Okay.
and then I started the social media marketing company. Thought it was a cool idea. I think Ty Lopez was an even bigger influencer in the space.
Yeah.
So I saw his stuff, I saw some other people's stuff, started watching YouTube videos and got into that. And then I also started like mowing lawns on the side. I worked at this carpet cleaning business, and it just got to be too much.
Right.
Yeah, so eventually it was just back to extermination. And then I had my my first job like with, I don't even remember how it got introduced. I think just a friend of a friend. No. Yeah. A friend worked at this ISP, an internet service provider in Overland Park.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got to this ISP. I got the job, but I was told I was going to be a knock technician when I got there. So this was like August of 2018. No, 2017. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So August of 2017. Sorry if I'm rambling. I don't know.
No, it's fine.
This is a story you want me to tell.
So about 2-3 months after you
Yeah.
got your CCNA or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You got it. So I went to work at this place. I was told I was going to be a knock technician, and I definitely was not. Yeah, I was doing all the grunt work, everything you can imagine, but like working on tech stuff.
Yeah, hire hitman.
Yeah, essentially, I was the dirty mercenary. It was horrible, and I had like a bad experience there. They had me do like whatever was needed by the boss. So I was moving insulation in the ceiling. I was chopping wood. I don't know if the viewers are like from a part of the country where you chop wood, but like in Kansas City, kind of chop wood.
Yeah, you kind of
chop wood because it gets cold. It was snowy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so chopped wood, pulled insulation in the attic. Dirty task: clean the garage, help the boss build a room for his kid.
Man.
So not a great job. But it got me into an industry, even though it was like kind of a small operation.
Right.
I got to see how an internet service provider handles their problems, because that's like a whole different path than what I do in like my current job.
Yeah, because it's all money based.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
all money based, profit driven.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got like you were talking about your job, I got to see a little bit more of the business of computers.
Exactly.
Because I was closer to the people that were actually running the company.
Right.
And I also got to see how they make some of their network choices. And it's like significantly different than what we do at like the job I work now.
Right.
So
Totally different.
Whole different perspective. Whole different perspective on networking than what I got out of the book. That was great. So even though it was a bad experience though, I don't think I would have ever got the job that I have now if I didn't have that job, that dirty job.
It's funny how life works out like
that.
that.
Yeah, it really is. Because it's like, I don't know, I just, like, coming out of it, I had bad things to say, and then I was like, if this would have never happened, I wouldn't be in this great situation I'm in right now.
Exactly. Man.
Yeah.
God's good like that, though.
Yeah, seriously.
Sure.
It was an amazing situation. It's amazing how it worked out.
So you transitioned from that job into the job you have now.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty large environment.
That was, I could never have, like, if I had planned this all, and I had, like I said, like, when I got there, I had, like, 4 jobs, I had planned all these things.
Yeah.
It worked out far better than I could have ever planned it.
Man.
Yeah, it worked out way better. So, I think the way that I got the job that I'm in now, Nick Evans, also...
shout out to Nick.
Yeah, great engineer, especially, like, as a voice engineer.
Yeah.
He's, like, a really senior guy, and he knows his stuff, very proficient.
For sure.
But he passed on my resume, I guess. I think he had mercy on me, because he was like, I think he wants to get married. I think he wants to, get a job and be able to provide. I can sympathize for that.
Yeah.
I was in that position before. So he got me this job. He helped me to get this job. Interview went great. At that point, Ron Arts was still there, and so what's the other guy's name?
Ron was there.
The other Ron Norfleet, I think.
Oh, yeah.
That might be his
Ron
name.
left like Ron. Ron.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ron and Ron,
Yeah.
He
left like right when I got there.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Did he interview you too?
Yeah,
or
he
was there
interviewed me. It's a funny thing because initially I had an interview for the senior position.
Right.
And then I didn't get it, and that kind of it hit me in the chest.
Really?
Yeah, man, because I didn't really do good on the project management part of the interview. Yeah.
Interesting.
And that's what changed my perspective on what it takes to be a senior network engineer was that interview. Like, it changed how I approach everything.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit about that? I want to understand.
So, when it comes to like being a senior network engineer, you gotta own projects, you gotta own outages, you gotta own whatever goes on the network. You gotta manage your time, you gotta manage your tasks. And so, the way the interview was structured, it was like, okay, what role did you play in the projects that you were a part of? Did you lead them? What tasks, what purchases have you made? Just different parts and moving pieces on how I interacted with the deliverables of the projects, and just all of that. I didn't do well in it. And so after that, I went back, regrouped, studied some PMP stuff, and then went back into my switch exam because I could have did better answering like spanning tree stuff, and it's like, okay.
Because Ron asked some like ridiculously hard questions.
Exactly.
Like,
Ron, hey, man.
Like super CCNA questions.
Hey, man, Ron's a beast. Man,
Yeah,
Ron's
seriously.
a beast. I learned a lot from Ron. But
I feel the same, yeah.
after that, that's when I changed. And so it's funny how, you know, like God, things work out. I get called back, you know, from the recruiter for the position, and he's like, hey, I know you didn't get the senior position, but I got a regular network engineer position open in the same team. And I know you'll be a great fit. I'm like, man, I just bombed that interview. I'm about to go here and make a fool of myself.
That's confidence, man.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm like,
That's really
like,
cool.
Yeah, he was like, just take it, do it.
Really?
And I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So, you know, I got on the phone, and then, the project manager?
Craig?
Yeah, Craig, because that's what grilled me about the project manager.
Okay, great.
So Craig was like, asking me, like, did we interview you before? I was like, yeah, you did interview me before. I didn't do well in that interview, but I had some time to study what we went over to review project management, and I'm here to let you know that I'm a great fit for your company.
Cool. Yeah, that makes a big impression. I understand. You know, I know you said that while we worked there, but like seeing your perspective, seeing your determination, I know we're talking about ambition and like how hard you worked. Like I could see while you were there. I can understand why Ron was like so on you becoming a senior while you were there. Yeah, so it makes sense. It makes sense. The work really, even though it wasn't at the job I'm at now, I mean, like it paid off at your new place. Yeah. Yeah, in a big way. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
In a big way, because like think about like the equipment that you're working with now is probably like far grander than what we have.
It's funny, man. It's a totally different environment. Where you are now is larger as far as like the sites and devices you support. But where I am now is larger on the type of responsibility I have. Because there, we didn't really do data center and firewalls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But here, I'm responsible for data center firewalls, WAN, all of that. So
interesting. So like the level of complexity is greater.
Oh, the level of complexity is nuts.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because you start integrating like fabric path, network centric with ACI and all that stuff.
So you have almost, I don't know if it's really the language you would use, but like an overlay to the like physical connections.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, when you start talking about southbound, northbound, overlay, underlay, yeah, all that is what makes up the network-centric infrastructure when it comes to ACI.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So just learning that, man, and it's like you said, if I would have never had the position that I was in, I wouldn't be where I am today.
You feel like you really grew from it then?
Being there?
Yeah.
Oh, yay! Hands down.
What way, like, the most?
I would have never started automating, for one.
Really?
No, when we first started working together, automation was never...
It wasn't encouraged, I guess.
It was never pushed. Like, it wasn't a part of, this is what you need to do. Like, people just automated because, like you, this is tedious and I want to automate. But now the whole industry is pushing towards automation. But, like, your mindset immediately is like, we do these tasks every day.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously. Like, even thinking about, like, going back to before I had what I use now on a daily basis, like the scripts that I've written for my current place.
Yeah.
I can't imagine having to do that every day.
Man,
yeah, seriously.
I can only imagine the scripts you wrote because, like, immediately you made the fixer script. You know,
yeah, and a lot of it was just building on top of that, like the riverbed fixer script, fixing the way and optimize the place I work now. Like, just the daily tasks. Sometimes, like, 500 boxes break and you have to fix them. Now, if you're going to go into every box, it's going to take your entire day, and then you're not going to be able to have time to work on studying for certifications if you want to. You're not going to be that's kind of like, I don't know, arbitrary, because you might not always be doing that, but like, you won't be able to spend time to work on improving yourself, tasks that are actually requiring intelligence. Yeah, you just get stuck on like the tedious, stupid everyday tasks, that kind of thing.
See, that type of mindset. That mindset, man, because I'm telling you, I would never forget.
It's just laziness. It's just laziness, essentially.
You always say that. You always say it's laziness. But I would never forget when the riverbed, the controller, the SEC, when it had, I forget, it was like 1,500 riverbeds that was degraded or something crazy. And you wrote a script to go in and knock all that out. I was like, man, I need to learn this.
Really?
Yeah, and then
You grew from like that moment. You remember
that
like,
moment because the next time that something like that happened was when we had to go in and change all those
serial numbers, like tracking the serial numbers.
tracking the serial numbers and changing the location.
Oh yeah,
of
the SNP track.
SNP.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, you know what, I gotta automate because I'm not going to 300 devices.
That's cool. That's
I'm not,
cool.
I'm not doing it. It made no sense to spend this time, 10 days to go in 300 devices.
Seriously,
I'm not
because we
doing
were
it.
given like 2 weeks for the project or something like that. I remember we worked on it together a little bit. You had some like really good, like your style of writing was really great. You had some good ideas on how you're gonna write it, and we ended up working on this thing and like brainstorming together. And I remember just like the last 2 days of like the assignment, we got it done,
Yeah.
or I got it done. I don't know when you finished yours.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
I finished mine.
Because we
Like,
like split it up.
yeah.
Yeah. That's teamwork. Teamwork
Yeah.
make the dream work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that environment, man. I grew a
Seriously.
lot, man. And then
That's
you know,
incredible to hear. That's crazy. I would never have thought that. Like from that, you drew that much.
yeah, for real.
Yeah, because I see where you're at now, and I'm like, oh, he had it this whole time.
Nah.
Whatever.
Nah.
My little Python.
And then like Ron as a team lead, he was an enabler.
Yeah, seriously,
He
you're
was
right.
an enabler.
Because like thinking about like the other players in the space, like they were not like there too for growth. But I think like more than anything, Ron's like secureness within himself. He
Right.
wasn't worried about position or like his abilities as an engineer. Probably because he's like super proficient, like and he knows
Super smart.
everything.
Yeah, he knows
So
everything.
he wasn't worried about like if you know more.
Yeah,
So that helped a bit, seriously.
yeah.
And I think honestly, like because of how much he had like under control everything, he let me play around a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Like I got to play around with Python, computer science. I got into a little bit. Machine learning. I got to do a lot of research on that. I had like oodles of time.
Man, I really enjoyed that position, man.
Seriously.
Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy to think about how much you drew from it because like I mean. I don't know what your viewing audience thinks, but like seeing you now, like talking to you, the conversations, even like when we were working together, like you had such passion for it.
Yeah.
That's what I grew from, I think, working with you more than anything. Because you mentioned some things to me that I really thought about. Like you showed me aliasing, tickle scripting. What else was it? You showed me a lot of like niche things that you can do. And I was thinking about it, I was like, I would never have known any of this if I had if you weren't passionate about the equipment and like the process of being a network engineer,
Yeah.
you probably wouldn't know it either. Yeah, your passion was like really great in the space. Yeah, I thought about that a bit. I thought about how much you lab and things like that. It was like, I think I grew from that a bit. I realized that mine need to be proficient. Think deeply about like the things I'm learning and think like not just for being a CCNP route switch. Think about beyond. Like
Right.
networking as a whole, being a CCIE, because you and Ron were like super passionate about like in the future getting that number.
Man, hey.
Yeah.
I talked to Ron the other day
Crazy.
about it, and I don't know. We'll see.
Really?
We'll see.
You both?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Really?
We'll see.
Really?
If it's meant to be.
Talking to him, he's getting to do some cool stuff at his new place too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No matter where Ron goes, he's gonna
Yeah,
be.
yeah, because especially if you have somebody that like sees your potential, like I think in his new place they really see his potential,
Yeah.
because he can do anything. It's just a matter of what he's allowed to do in the space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But one of the things I can say about like working for somebody like Ron is that he enables you to like test your limits
Right. Seriously.
and grow. And if you got questions, he's there to provide you support.
Seriously, because I think I said a bunch of stupid stuff, and he never like made me feel it.
Nah.
Yeah, he was always like a dad, really. That's weird to say. He's like,
Man, you're just so young, man. It's
no,
like-
for real. He's not that much older either. And it's funny too, because like if you get him in the right spot, he's like, you know, playful and
Yeah.
childish a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's like he was really like a dad to me in a big way, like with network engineering at the very least. Yeah, he was very helpful in like that growth you're talking about. Seriously, it's
man.
crazy to think about.
So, you're 20 now. What's next, man? You've been a network engineer now for what? What is it? Almost a year.
A little over now, so
Okay.
I guess you count. I don't know if you can even count me being an NOC technician with that, because I got to work with it a bit. I got to help like with their architecture in my last job, and like work with their documentation a bit. I guess I did some network engineering tasks,
Right.
if you could count that. I started this job July 9th, of last year.
Right.
So almost a year. By the time I stop working here, it'll be a year.
Okay.
Yeah. My last day will be July 15th. I just put in my letter of resignation last Tuesday.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Man, and you just got your CCNA security, right?
Yeah.
Congrats, man.
Like, and I don't mean to toot your horn I guess say too much because you're not viewing audience or anything. But no, like, I probably wouldn't have got it if it weren't for you. Yeah. I saw your passion. Even though you didn't get it, like, you still had so much passion for it. I always saw you typing the book. I saw you reading. I saw you, like, focused on it. If you weren't doing, like, a task, like, I don't know, a focus-intensive task at work, you're always studying, like, CCIE material. So, yeah, I got it because I was trying to get, or keep my security plus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they had, like, the requirement. I wasn't about to do, like, a bunch of empty CEUs or something like that.
CEs, whatever,
Yeah. So I was like, well, I mean, if I'm gonna have to do continuing education to keep this thing, I'm gonna get a cert. Yeah, make it worth my time, I guess. Yeah.
You speed read?
Do I speed read?
Yeah.
No, but I hyper focus, I think.
What's hyperfocus?
So that's a good question. Like I'm really I don't know about your brain space. I don't even know what you would call the field of study. But like my mind is kind of all over the place. But
Right.
sometimes I like focus in like on one thing and I can't go on to another thing. I just forget about the outside world and I'm just like in that one thing. Yeah, but that's just like my brain space.
That's how your brain functions.
Pretty much. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think I'm sort of the same way.
Really?
I can
Okay.
be, for lack of better words, an asshole when I'm focused because like I really want to accomplish this, and sometimes I got to take a step back to say, you know what, I need to acknowledge everybody around me. You know what I mean? I need to come up for air.
Really?
Yeah.
You feel that way?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
crazy,
like,
man. Because like even when we were working together, like I thought it was a huge jerk. I'm still a huge jerk. I think in my job.
you know,
Cause like the way I would get the information I needed out of you, and then I get back to my task.
right.
I didn't like spend the time like shoot the breeze with
I love
or like
that.
the people around me. It was just like on my task, and it was like, oh,
I
time.
love that though. I don't really like shooting the breeze at work.
Really?
No,
Yeah.
because like
You have
I'm
so
really trying to
easy
learn.
personality. Okay, that's crazy.
I'm a friendly person. Like you can come up and I'm approachable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I'm at work and I'm trying to learn, like
Oh my gosh.
I don't really like distractions. I
Really?
don't like distractions. Nah. Nope.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess it is just that you're approachable, but I mean, you'd always engage in conversations. That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm approachable.
I dig it.
But you see how I take notes? Like that's why I take notes like that because it's always gonna be some distractions, and if I don't take notes, I'm gonna forget.
Do you get distracted easily when you're studying?
Depends on the space I'm in. Like I really.
What is the factor? Like, what is a deciding factor if you get like distracted while you focus?
If I'm interested in the subject.
Okay.
If I got a task that I need to accomplish, then I'm more likely to focus on it. But if I'm just trying to learn to get a certification, I'm not gonna care. That's why I never got the CCNA security. Because all I really cared about was learning ice and firewalls.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay, I feel you.
Like, it wasn't gonna improve my resume. It wasn't gonna.
Yeah.
It made no sense.
In a big way, yeah. I think like for me, I get distracted by anything else I have to do. So I can't really focus unless like that's the only thing, and it can be the only thing. Because when I hyper focus, I lose focus on other tasks, and if I had lost focus on other tasks and there's something that needed to get done,
Right.
then I would feel bad later on, you know. So like it's hard for me to focus, even if it's like something I really enjoy, unless I don't have like the outside distractions, like the outside high priority tasks like keep in my mind.
It's
But I can focus on anything.
Yeah.
Like when I was reading the book, you were saying it was like the David Santos, I guess, security book.
Omar Santos.
Yeah. Sorry.
Shout out to Omar.
Yeah. I thought it was like not dry at all. I was totally engaged. Like the writing style it wasn't a big deal, but like I really appreciated his depth in it. I think that could be kind of dry, I guess, if you were going through it.
Yeah,
Sure.
the MIT Python course.
Really? You
put me
enjoyed that?
on. No.
You did?
It's
I
petty.
like that. Are you kidding me? I love that course.
See, like,
Okay, like if you don't know what it is, it was great. You should go check it out. It's OpenCourseWare. Just Google OpenCourseWare MIT.
I'll put a link in the description.
And you can find like a beginner's Python course for free. It was great. I didn't even complete it yet, and it's been like a year since I started. I only got through maybe 6 lessons for a while, now 8 maybe. Go check out that course. It's really good. Help me like get everything you need to be able to script in Python, and then maybe learn NetMiko, and then you're good. As a network engineer, like scripting with Python, you're good.
About that course, man, I will never forget. We had just started. You was going through this course. This was when you were really deep into learning computer science, and you were stuck on the towers of.
Oh, the Tower of Hanoi.
Oh
yeah,
God, you were like really stuck on.
Yeah, because like, but now the thing is, okay, so the Towers of Hanoi. If you've ever seen like the movie The Rise of the Planet of the Apes, they have like a section like when they're trying to test this Alzheimer medication on a chimp or a monkey or something, and he's completing this task. They have like a kid set up, and you have to move the discs on the different towers of Hanoi, and it has like this whole mythos behind it. But a big disc can't be on top of a small disc, so you have to move the discs from starting post to ending post, without the big disc being on top of the small disc. So you can complete that task, like it's featured in the link, I guess, if you're gonna put in the link in the description, as a good like test of recursion. So recursion, you can use the same function that you write, and you can iterate endlessly over the same material, and you can use it with mutable or immutable things, but until, I think the idea with it is until a certain feature is true, or a certain quality, I guess, is validated, and then you can exit the recursive loop. But I still use that. I'm so glad like I spent the time and like, I don't know, went through that relatively like simple and stupid like illustration of it, and worked it out with Ron. Even though he never implemented recursion in his stuff, I don't think he liked it too good. But I still use it. I created this script the other day to work on WAPs. Is a port bounce. So like, cause in the organization I work for now, it has like 5,000 plus WAPs.
Yeah.
So like a lot of them, because of their own issues, need to be dropped and brought back on, so they can authenticate with .1x, go through their macros to bring it on as a trunk to the WAP, and then register with WLC because they're all lightweight WAPs.
Right.
So like all of that's pretty much accomplished by bouncing the port, and it'll start that whole process. So if you bounce the port, it'll bring these WAPs on, and I have to work on, I think maybe 300 were down or something like that. And a difficulty, because I wrote it initially like the same thing, which is search through the CDP neighbor table to see if it has either the name of the WAP or the default name of a WAP, which is AP followed by the MAC address of the WAP in the CDP neighbor table. I just put the block to search through the CDP neighbor table with regular expressions, find the information, and then bounce it like 3 times.
Right.
So I can search like 3 switches deep, I guess if you had 3 switches on a site.
Right.
But of course, like not every site has 3 switches.
Right.
Like sometimes it's less, sometimes it's a lot more.
Right.
Like some sites have like 13 switches.
So you need your script to be able to.
Exactly. However many switches I wanted to search through. So yeah, I wrote it with recursion, which you can find on that link in OpenCourseWare MIT, which John hates so much.
Nah, I don't hate it, man. It's very informational. It's just dry and.
Yeah. I feel you. Especially because
Yeah. Well, go ahead,
it was
bro.
good. It was good.
I want to hear about the script you wrote.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand how I would write it and understand how you wrote it.
Okay.
So how did you end up writing it?
Okay, so initially, oh man, I really wish I would have brought. I gave it to other Ronald Maroria, my sheet of like how I was thinking about it. But essentially, it's written in these 3 blocks. Do this task 3 times. Go 1 switch deeper each time. But instead, I want it to go however many switches deep I want. And per our, I guess, network design, we have switches IP addressed a certain way, kind of in consequent order.
Yeah, so every site pretty much same.
Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Every site has the same setup of IP addressing, which I'm not going to get into. And so I just put the possible like final octet of the IP addressing into a list. So it could be mutable, it could be changed.
So all the possible IP addresses that you might see in the network.
Exactly. And I went like 20 switches deep. Even though I probably won't ever use 20 switches deep, like the possible I think that you'll ever find at a site is 20 switches.
So you put them in a list?
Exactly.
Okay.
Put them in a list so it's mutable, not a tuple. And then I have an input prompt that says like how many switches do you want to iterate over? You can say 5, so it cuts that down to the first 5 in that list. And now I wrote it recursive so I could do it however many times you have something in that list. So when it gets to it, it takes, and I wrote it, well, I don't have to go into that, but just the recursion part for now. The function, it supplies the argument of that list as well as the IP address and the name of it, so you can search in the CDP neighbor table for the name. And it will take the list, it says, if you have nothing in the list, then leave.
Right.
Like you just print out to the screen or print to the spreadsheet.
No switches on site or something.
Yeah, we couldn't find it, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, because you've essentially gone to the end of your list.
Right.
And then it goes through this process, take out the first index from the list and put that in the final octet of whatever IP you supplied.
Okay.
And then it'll set up an SSH session into that device. Search through the CDP neighbor table for either the default name or the name of it.
Right.
And then if it can find it, bounce it. And send it to another function which goes through the bouncing process.
Right.
If it can't find it, then it goes to the else statement, or I don't even want to say else statement, but the recursive feature of the function.
Okay.
So at this point, if it doesn't find it, it'll get to the end of the function, and it says if you didn't find it, you go back to the beginning, and then you before you go back to the beginning, the argument you supply for the amount of switches or the last octet, you're gonna take out that first indice that you just like set up an SSH session into. So you make the list just a little bit smaller, and you go back through the process, and you keep doing that until the list is nothing.
So, isn't that kind of like a for loop for each?
Yeah. For each in.
Yeah.
However, what makes it better? What makes it better? Let me think about that. What makes it better than a for loop? Because I was thinking about, maybe you're right. Maybe it is essentially a for loop. Because it cuts out, it iterates over that range. It's true.
For each end, blah, blah, blah. And you can do it in reverse. You can do it however you want after the end.
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe it is just a for loop.
But you made it a function, so it's not just a regular standard script. You actually made it a function that you can call whenever you want.
I think it's helpful for writing style.
Right.
Like, more than anything, maybe it could just be written as a for loop and I just wasted my time. But
I don't know. You watch MIT. They smart.
You know what, though? I guess it could be written as a for loop because the way that this iterates, if it didn't get something, then you do it again. You run the function again. If you were to write it as a for loop, you could just write continue.
Yeah.
And then it'll go on. And if it did find it, then it breaks. So yeah, you could still write it as a for loop. I think that would be the same thing. I'd have to think for a minute to see what the benefit would be. But modular writing style is usually preferred or like suggested. Yeah.
Modular meaning.
Like writing things as functions as opposed to writing everything in the same like first frame, like flat, that kind of thing.
So, Ron is great at coding, but like where I am now, we have like a whole automation team, and they're more into like not just creating functions, but actually creating classes and objects.
Interesting. Okay.
You know what I mean? That you can actually use in other scripts.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm trying to wrap my head around that. And then what you said about your fixer script and how you just kept building on it, like that becomes whole applications for organizations.
Seriously, if it gets big enough.
That you have to actually, you become the person that supports it. Nobody else can.
In your organization too, you see it scaled up to that's
there's an application that's scaled up that large that it does so much with all the devices pretty much. It gives you pretty much any information you're looking for.
Okay, so like when in your organization, like when you use classes and objects, what sort of information are they trying to store?
It's all about what you want to store.
I guess.
So anything that's reusable that you think you could use in another script.
Okay.
Man, hey YouTube. So we were like in the middle of the interview. My phone died and they kicked us out of the library because it was closing. It's late at night.
It's tough.
But man, I thank you for coming on for this interview, man.
It's been a real privilege, man.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Yeah, hey, thank you.
Seriously.
Is there anything you want to say to people before we're up out of here?
I'm trying to think about what thoughts I was sharing before we wrapped up.
You were talking about how if people want to be in networking, how they can pursue it and how they should go after it. But there's so many different opportunities.
Oh yeah, I was talking about tech a little bit.
Yeah.
So like, if you follow big trends in tech right now, there's a lot of different spots that are progressing. Like, Dwan's really big into network engineering, but everything's kind of blowing up right now. There's a lot going on with blockchain. There's a lot going on with machine learning. Even with network engineering, we're seeing like SD-WAN, IBN, and tip-based networking. These things are really expanding, so it's changing the entire field of network engineering. So many things in tech are expanding and getting more complex. And with that added complexity, there's more of the opportunity to specialize. So you can do so many more things like with the added specialization. So figure out what you want to do, whether that be network engineering or something else. And then just find good influences for it. Figure out how to get there in a quick and efficient way that's enjoyable, and do the work associated with it. Work hard, whatever you got. Focus on what you want to do. And it's usually easier if it's something you're passionate about, but it's not necessary. Like for me, like my thing is not necessarily network engineering, but I really enjoy the work. Right. I grew passion from getting good at it. Right. Yeah.
Man.
Do what you want.
Is there's so much wisdom in that statement, because like you acknowledge this isn't what I really want to do, but I'm gonna make the best of it, but I'm also gonna pursue what I really want to do in life. And that's one of the things I admire about you and your age, man, because I'm serious.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Oftentimes in life, people do things just because this is what they do and this is all they know. But like in their heart of hearts, they know that there's something greater, and they never pursue it.
Yeah.
And so for you...
And it's such a disappointment for so many people. They just kind of go on this path of life that they're kind of expected to follow down, and then they don't get the satisfaction that they wanted.
Right.
They get confused about why.
Right. And I think we didn't talk about this in the library, but you're about to stop being a network engineer.
Yeah. I don't actually know what my job's going to be. I'm going to go to Bethel, like I think I talked about earlier in the interview, talking about how I became a network engineer. I was invited to Bethel last Monday. And
what's Bethel?
Oh, Bethel is a branch office of Jehovah's Witnesses in New York. There's 3 branches in New York. They're all over the world. Right. But it's a volunteer facility, so I'll be volunteering up there. And it's going to be very different than the life I live down. I'm super excited for it. I was invited last Monday, and they want me there July 18th. So I'll be going there. Probably I'll leave July 16th, something like that. But I don't even know what I'll be doing. Maybe I'll be scrubbing toilets, but just to be there, I'm super stoked.
Hey, man, I'm excited for you, man. Like, my heart just shines to see you just actually pursuing what you want to pursue. You got 2 CCNAs. You're in, like, one of the best environments to work in, and you're like, you know what? It's all good. I'm going to pursue my dreams.
Thank you so
much. And what God wants me to do in life. That's inspiring, bro. That's inspiring.
So seriously, I'll leave it on that. That was a good finishing note.
What's your Twitter handle and stuff so people can check you out?
Kwasi Ransom, probably. I'll send it to you, and then you can put it in the description. I think it's just my name.
Cool. Well, thanks, YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this interview, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.